Welcome to my WOW Chats, Words of Wisdom with people I admire and respect and whose work is in line with making the world a better place. And we have Sarah Marsh, and we're here in the UK.
Thank you, Shelly.
Yeah,
yes,
thank you. So we're here at Women on Fire 2019. Thank you, Jenny Burrell and Michelle Leons, for this amazing event.
And it has been amazing.
And Sarah Marsh is a fellow physiotherapist. She's a yoga professional. She integrates yoga into physio. She's one of our physio yogi team members. And this is the first time we've met in person. Yeah. And it's been great. And you took such good care of me. She met me at the airport and showed me how to navigate, how to get to the
UK's
train.
transport system.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's nice when you land to have someone, if it's the first time you go somewhere, just to say, right, this is how we do this, and just make it a little bit easier. I like meeting people at airports. Emotionally, it makes me happy.
Aw, well, that was great. Worked for me. So, okay, words of wisdom. So we have had a few conversations this weekend, some good ones.
Yes,
We've
we have.
had tea and just been talking about all kinds of things. And one thing I want to ask you about is where you're at personally on the concept of discerning things that you want to say yes to and what to say no to. Because we've had that conversation a lot. And it could be like on a professional basis or personal, but maybe just some words of wisdom, like share something maybe that, like, how do you do it? How do you discern what to say yes to and to say no to? And do you have some process to tell yourself it's okay to say no, or where are you at with that?
Oh, it's a fantastic question, and that is, I suspect, for many of us, it's forever a work in progress, isn't it?
Yes.
I think I have got better at it as I've got older. I think that's just experience, isn't it? I talk quite a lot with patients, but when I'm presenting as well, sometimes there's two things to me. One is that I'm a physio and a yoga teacher, so I'm very doey. I know yoga is also about relaxing, but I'm quite action orientated. So for me, one of the things I had to learn was that an action, like, it is equally an action to say I'm not going to make a decision now, or I'm not going to do anything. So no action is a decision, and therefore it's still a decision. So my decision sometimes is I'm not ready to make a decision now.
I like that.
So
I've never thought of it.
So I just have
way.
to give it that equal importance. So I'm not ready to make a decision. So my action is to take no action today. That's the first thing that I do, because sometimes I'm so quickly drawn into, oh yes, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want to do everything. The other is a little bit of reflection is always. So I'm trying to buy myself a little bit of time to actually reflect and then just settle back in with my gut. We've done a lot of talking about gut health over the weekend, but to sit and listen to my gut and what is it actually saying. And then I start the discerning process. There's still a tricky part though for me, which is the actually saying no, or even worse, as we were just talking about, saying yes initially and then saying no.
Yeah. That's really hard. Yeah. So that's good. So what I liked is just to give you yourself even some credibility for making a decision by saying I'm not going to decide today, I like that, because sometimes I am a bit too hard on myself, like, because I sit on a decision for so long and I'm like, just make it already, and and so it's nice to say no, my decision right now is not to do anything and just sit. So that is one thing that I got from this. And then the reflection part and the discerning, that's something that I practice too, so I can appreciate that.
Because I think there is sometimes a gut decision, but there's sometimes a wider decision, so we don't just, so we shouldn't do things that we don't want to do if we can possibly avoid it. So I'm talking now in a professional capacity. Could you do this presentation? Could you make this meeting? But also occasionally in life we do have to do things that we might not want to do.
Absolutely.
And that's just real, isn't it? So within that, sometimes I think I'm going to have to do this, but I want to buy myself some time to reflect. My gut is saying this, but the reality of my life is saying I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to make this journey too. So then my reflection is a little bit around how am I going to make that as pleasant as possible. It might not be joyful, but as pleasant as possible, and decide that once that is my decision, I'm done with beating myself up about it, because certain things have to happen.
Yeah, no regrets. So do you have any like a process or anything? Like do you just think it out? Like, or do you do some kind of a physical practice or a breath practice? Do you know what I mean? Feel the gut, or to reconcile the gut with the mind? Like, is there anything?
For me, it would be a breath practice. I think if you'd have asked me 15 years ago, I'd have said I have to do the physical practice first. But now, I will just sit. And my favourite time is still first thing in the morning. So I do like a little bit of the mulling over. So not really trying to take a problem to bed, but the reality is that we know when we sleep and all of those pathways are working to heal, and the brain, the neural pathways are resetting, or it's getting rid of the things we don't need. So I think there's sometimes a little bit of an aha moment when you wake up, or I wake up with some clarity. And on the days when I'm really strong with my willpower and I do not look at my phone, so I don't check in with anything, make myself a cup of tea, sit down on my mat and just do my meditation practice. And I'm just then sitting at the end of it with some peace to just try and...
Beautiful.
So I don't need to do the movement as much anymore.
Yes.
I just like I actually quite like the peace. And how am I feeling then? I've had some thinking, I've had some sleep. Sit there, and by the time the cup of tea is ready to drink, that's my...
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
That's great. And then would it be too much to ask to share like what your seated meditation and breath practice kind of looks like? Like, is it just sitting and watching and observing in the stillness, or do you do a specific breath or a specific mantra or a chant or?
I don't really have a specific chant. I will sit. I do definitely do a body scan. I'm sitting there and I'm breathing.
So the body
and I'm
scan.
just sort of inhaling and just saying, how do I feel today? And I start physically and then start to draw inwards. And then I'm reflecting on what is passing.
Okay, so you're being the observer.
Yeah.
You're just doing the watching and just getting still.
And then a little bit of so why might I be? So I've become more introspective, definitely. And so why am I feeling this? If I'm finding it hard, those days that I think people think, the meditation is the same every day, and that we just, once you get it, and sometimes you just know. So then I would use a breath practice. I would look at working with my inhale, work with my exhale. Might do a little bit of Nadi Shodhana if I want to just change things a little bit, but very often it will be inhaling, building up the length of my inhale. I like a pause. And I like to exhale and a pause. That settles it down. And then I'll come back to my normal breath, and then I'll sit. At the end, I just sit and just see what comes up. It won't always give you the full answer there and then, will it? But it just takes me closer to where I want to be on making my decision.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's beautiful. Thank you. I hope you guys got some tips from that and some insight, words of wisdom. Sarah Marsh from the UK, from exactly what area?
Well, Southwest London, Twickenham.
Southwest London, Twickenham.
Southwest London, Twickenham. Yeah, we can edit that bit. Let's do that bit again. Southwest London in Twickenham.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much,
Shelly.
So nice. Thanks for watching this WOW chat with Sarah Marsh, fellow physio yogi from the UK. Check out her website, sarahmarsh.co, and she's got a lot of great resources, and as you can see, she's brilliant and a really wonderful educator. And check out some of my other WOW chats, words of wisdom from other people that I admire and respect.